My name is Ellen McCarthy, and I'm the president of the Intelligence and National Security Alliance. And I have to tell you that I am standing here tonight absolutely nervous. The reason I'm absolutely nervous is I sit here and I think I came to my first Baker Award as a GS employee working for Fran Townsend. She's always giving me opportunities to excel. And I walked into the room and I was absolutely overwhelmed with the people who were at the Baker Award, and the person who was being honored at that time, I believe, was Charlie Allen. Pretty much anybody who was anybody in the intelligence community was here. I had either worked for them or wanted to work for them. And so I couldn't believe that I was here. And I actually left that evening just being overwhelmed with pride for the business that I was then engaged in and continue to remain engaged in. And so for all of you here tonight who are attending your first Baker Award, I really hope that that's your experience as well. And I find it just incredibly moving, at least for me, to be standing here tonight as the president. And I still feel that same sense of pride and the same amount of shock and awe as I look out here and I look at who's staying here today, who's here with us today, leaders in the intelligence community and people whom I have complete respect for. We are gathered here to honor someone whose lifetime dedication and service has resulted in an exemplary career to the nation. And of course, I speak of Secretary Robert M. Gates, our honoree this evening. Mr. Secretary, on behalf of INSA, thank you for all that you have done for our country and for the men and women of the armed forces and the intelligence community. We're also here tonight to pay tribute to an individual whose service became a hallmark of distinction and whose dedication to the nation became legendary. Dr. Baker was a remarkable man and a staunch supporter of the intelligence community. He really believed in a strong intelligence enterprise and the need for utilizing and developing the most advanced communications and computing technology. His impact on national security is without doubt. In many ways, Dr. Baker is the embodiment of the INSA mission, as his many accomplishments were achieved working not within government, but in partnership with the public and private sector. Dr. Baker's dedication, spirit, and memory live on in those who've been given the William Oliver Baker Award, all of whom carry the same sense of thought leadership, dedication, and love of country as Dr. Baker himself. So it is my great honor to recognize those previous Baker honorees who are with us this evening. As I read their names, I will ask that you please stand and be recognized. Senator John Warner, 2009. Mr. Dick Kerr, 2008. Admiral Bill Studeman, 2007. General Brent Scowcroft, 2005. Ms. Joan Dempsey, 2004. Mr. Charlie Allen, 2002. And Mr. Jim Schlesinger, 1991. Thank you all for your continuing service. And with that, I would like to thank you all for being here this evening, and I hope you enjoy your dinner. We have with us tonight many distinguished intelligence, law enforcement, and other national security community attendees from the public and the private sector. This includes current and former directors and deputy directors of intelligence and national security agencies, the National Security Council, and Congress. But that means you also know from past dinners that government lawyers do not permit us to recognize each of you individually. But you know who you are, and you know that I am very grateful, as is the rest of INSA, for your presence here this evening, so thank you very much. I'm now in my second year here as the president of INSA, and what a ride it has been. I left government after 22 years of service, a move that many questioned, especially my husband. But I did it for a number of reasons, but most of it was because of Admiral McConnell, who was then the Director of National Intelligence, and established a requirement that all civilians in the intelligence community get joint duty credit, which meant that they spent time in agencies other than the agency that they had grown up in to gain more exposure to the IC, which I thought was a brilliant idea. But I realized that I think it could also be achieved, and I think Admiral McConnell, Director McConnell agreed that you can also get that credit by working in the private sector with our partners who in many cases are as dedicated, actually in most cases, are as dedicated to strengthening the nation's security capabilities as any of their colleagues in the public sector. So INSA was clearly the place to get this experience, and it really was the right move. Besides, who wouldn't want to work with folks like Fran Townsend and Charlie Allen? Or in my case, work again for Fran Townsend and Charlie Allen, as well as all of the members of the Board of Directors, the Board of Advisors, the Executive Committee, and the task forces. Fran and Charlie, your support, as well as everyone else, has just been critical to our event tonight, as well as to the success of INSA. Today, INSA is a vibrant alliance with intelligence professionals who gather together daily. They take off their hats, whether it's their industry hat, their government hat, or their academic hat, and they come together to talk about and deal with some of the most complicated and important issues that faced our intelligence and national security community. There is a wide range of issues that INSA is dealing with right now. There's cybersecurity, looking at whether or not a private-public partnership for cybersecurity is a good path for the future. Homeland security, looking for mechanisms where we can provide enhanced intelligence support to state and local law enforcement. Acquisition reform, looking at the impact of organizational conflict of interest regulations on the public and private sector. Intelligence reform, counterintelligence, and providing insights into government resources, programs, and priorities, and what that means for the country as a whole. It is the people sitting in this room, INSA members, real patriots, who make this all happen, and their motives are not, as sometimes is reported, to make another dollar or to get a better job, but to ensure that just like Dr. Baker, this country maintains a first-rate intelligence enterprise. In the last 18 months alone, INSA has answered requests from the National Security Council, the Department of Defense, various congressional committees, and the Office of the DNI. To all of our public sector members and guests, as you continue to confront our nation's security challenges, we hope that you'll continue to look to INSA and the expertise our members provide as the IC's nonpartisan, ethical, and informed venue for your intelligence and national security needs. INSA and its mission have never been more important or more effective, and it's in this spirit that it is an honor to introduce the individuals at our head table and the founding member and president circles tables. Our guest of honor, I'd like to introduce our guest of honor, Dr. Robert M. Gates, Secretary of Defense. His wife, Becky. INSA's chairman of the board, Fran Townsend. Lieutenant General Ron Burgess, Director, Defense Intelligence Agency. INSA's Senior Intelligence Advisor, Charlie Allen. My husband, and I'll stay seated, Gordon Hanna. At the founding member table, Tom Hempfield, Vice President, Hewlett-Packard Federal Business Organization. Thank you, Tom. Kurt Holken, Vice President, Microsoft Federal Division. Thank you, Kurt. Mike McConnell, Senior Vice President, Booz Allen Hamilton, and former INSA Chairman. Mike, you really set the course for where INSA is today. I thank you personally, and thank you for everything you've done and you continue to do to help us move along. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce his wife, Terry. Mike Thomas, President, Lockheed Martin Global Security Solutions. Mike is also an INSA board member and has been critical in INSA's strategic planning efforts. Lou Von Thaer, who I have to say, I made the mistake of not including Lou Von Thaer. He's not only the president of General Dynamics Advanced Information Systems, but he's also a very valued member of the INSA Board of Directors. and his wife, Jennifer. Thank you. I have to say that I've had a change in my script, and I was remiss in introducing my friend, mentor, Deputy Director of DIA, Ms. Tish Long. And I'm even more remiss in failing to introduce the Director of DIA, Lieutenant General Ron Burgess. But General Burgess, we love you so much, I'm going to introduce you twice. Getting back to the previous table, Jim Schaefer, President of CSC North America Public Sector and INSA Board Member, and Chairman of the INSA Governance Committee. Richard Schifflin, President, BAA Systems, Information Technology. Richard, thank you. Bill Varner, President of the Mantech Mission, Cyber and Technology Solutions Group, and INSA Board of Directors. With the President's Circle, we have Ken Minahan, former SASA INSA Chairman and INSA Governance Committee. Ken. I have to give you a special thanks. You led the transition from SASA to INSA, serving as the president and chairman, and you continue to provide regular support to both Fran and I, and we really appreciate your guidance. And where INSA is today is largely because of what you've provided us then and now. Thank you, Ken. And his wife, his wife, Barb. Barb. Cheryl Roby, Department of Defense Chief Information Officer. Cheryl. Garnett Stowe, Vice President Raytheon, National Intelligence Program, and INSA Board Member. Steve Cambone, President, Kinetic North America, INSA Board Member, and INSA Cybersecurity Council. And his wife, Margaret. And then one of our newest members, Bill Donnellan, Vice President, I2. Thank you, Bill. Before I turn the podium over to our chairwoman, I also want to thank Jake Jacoby, who also co-chaired the INSA Strategic Planning Committee and has been an invaluable sounding board to myself and the INSA staff. So Jake, thank you very much. And lastly, a special thank you to Bob Harding, who led the Baker Award Nominating Committee and whose advice and guidance was critical to the planning and ultimate success of this evening's event. So Bob, thank you very much.